I joined NASA, got to do the kind of research I loved. Our nation's prestige hinged on our work. They gave us whatever resources we asked for. I knew you could turn a rocket into an ICBM by fitting it with a nuclear warhead, but that didn't bother me so much. It didn't last long, though. The space and nuclear arms races took up enormous sums of money. America beat Russia to the moon, but that's where it ended.
Then came détente.
Exactly. NASA's budget was slashed as a result. My father being a nuclear expert and all, they put me to work on a more obvious deterrent: missiles. At NASA, I'd been researching a locomotion system for lunar exploration. Tires aren't suited to driving around on the moon, you know. And that's how I caught Coldman's eye.
Yeah, just again, that does make me sad about the whole damn space race bullshit, or Star Wars, as it was actually called, I believe, too. I mean, we're getting a little more into space now, but I wish we got even more and more into it. Like, actually, I don't think we have the technology or shit to even think of terraforming yet, but still, think about how amazing that could be, because eventually, you know, population is going to get too big on Earth, and we're going to have to find a new way to fix that, and one of the best ways would be to go to another planet. I wish that shit was more of a concern right now.
The aim of the Peace Walker project is to achieve robust nuclear deterrence across Central America by deploying a new nuclear weapon system along the Caribbean coast. Peace Walker is also the name of the system itself.
A nuclear weapon named Peace. I can just see the look on Kaz's face. So why exactly does this new system need legs in the first place?
Because it's a walker, an unmanned weapon moving under its own power and capable of launching a deterrent strike from anywhere. That's the whole idea behind Peace Walker.
Okay. Oh, it's pretty short.
The reason Peace Walker is a mobile nuclear weapon system is to maximize its potential as a nuclear deterrent.
How so?
If need be, Peace Walker can stay constantly on the move so that the adversary can't pinpoint its position. That allows it to avoid preemptive enemy strikes.
So you're saying it keeps the retaliation card in play?
Coldman likes to brag about it in this way.
Like a land-based version of an SSBN.
And there's another reason for them to be mobile. Peace Walker also has a self-destruct function.
Huh. How big is the self-destruct blast? I wonder if we'll get into how fast these things could actually move. That's what I'm a little curious about.
Why would Peace Walker need a self-destruct function?
You saw it, didn't you, Snake? That sphere on Peace Walker's head?
Yeah?
That's a hydrogen bomb.
Fuck.
What? You're telling me that thing's a thermonuclear device? Do they have any idea what kind of destruction that thing would cause?
I know, it's crazy. I mean, even overkill has its limits. If it's strategic value they want, they could have gone with something smaller. It's like they want a weapon on par with Russia's Tsar Bomba.
This arms race is running way out of control.
It's an evolutionary dead end. A saber-toothed tiger. You can't load a warhead that big on a missile, of course. And no strategic bomber could carry it. That's where Peace Walker comes in.
So, it waltzes into enemy territory carrying a hydrogen bomb and blows itself up. Christ.
Yeah, that'd be fucking terrible. Scary thought.
The biggest nuclear warhead ever actually detonated was the Soviet RDS-220, nicknamed Tsar Bomba. It had an estimated yield of 57 megatons, 10 times as much power as all the explosives used throughout World War II. The test took place on October 30, 1961, above Novaya Zemlya. The explosion is believed to have created a fireball over 2 miles in diameter. Can you believe that? Like a miniature sun. The explosion was seen as far off as Finland, 600 miles away. And some people even reported windows shattering. The shock wave traveled 3 times around the Earth.
3 times?
Peace Walker is armed with a massive hydrogen bomb, even more destructive than Tsar Bomba. It can sneak into enemy territory, lie low, and in the event of an enemy nuclear strike, detonate itself in retaliation. And the locomotion system that lets it do that? My research. Snake, those legs were supposed to make my dream come true. Now they're about to jump the fence of nuclear deterrence. You have to stop them. I'll apply all my energy into developing weapons and equipment to help you do it.
Sounds like a deal.
God, that's a scary thought, though. Yikes.
What made you put an AI into Peace Walker?
Well, for one thing, because it can't be manned. Peace Walker's designed to enter enemy territory and blow itself up, if necessary. You can't put a person inside a weapon that could blow at any time, can you? So we equipped it with an AI instead.
That's strangely humane of you.
And besides, Peace Walker was designed as a bipedal weapon system. You can't imagine how hard it shakes when it walks. It'd turn a man into mush. Plus, when launching a nuclear missile, it has to perform ballistic calculations in real time. See? Because it's always moving.
Hold on. If that's all it does, then a high-performance computer ought to do the job. It doesn't need intelligence.
That's a very good point, Snake. Which brings me to the real reason. Peace Walker needs AI to make decisions regarding nuclear retaliation. It's what ensures perfectly mutual assured destruction.
I've heard all this before. You want a war between machines?
We'd never actually launched the first nuke, of course. It's strictly a counterattack system. Only a politician could make such an illogical decision as starting a nuclear war. Conversely, if an adversary launches a nuke at us, the AI will not fail to retaliate. Therefore, the adversary can't launch. The AI guarantees it.
Even so, launching nukes without authorization?
Boomer captains have the authority to launch if land communications are cut off. It's the same principle.
Not even the captain of a boomer can make that decision alone. The way I heard it, that's the only situation where insubordination is allowed.
Only because humans are imperfect. That's Coldman's line of thinking.
You're saying that machines don't make mistakes? That's a myth. Worse than that, it's blind faith.
We wouldn't put our faith, our fate, into the hands of any ordinary machine. That's what the AI is for. The decision to launch a retaliatory strike requires high-level judgment. You have to take into account not only the state of the war, but the entire world. And sometimes, you need to make a guess based on incomplete information.
Huh. You think an AI can do all that?
Yeah. At least Dr. Strangelove does.
Yeah, well, personally, I don't like the idea of trusting an AI with nuclear weapons myself. Fuck.
Peace Walker is fitted with several close-range weapons. We'd also planned for it to be able to enter enemy territory and self-detonate.
Wonderful. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Well, the flamethrowers for one thing. One in the front and one in the rear. Then there are the S-mines. They're like cluster bombs. It scatters them from its leg hatches. If you see those open, you better clear out quickly. And finally, the rockets. These can travel quite a distance, so stay sharp. On the other hand, it can't fire them from too close. But then again, there are those flamethrowers. It can also use its legs as weapons against any infantry on the ground.
Ouch.
But remember, Peace Walker technically isn't complete. With just the reptile pod, it can only perform relatively simple maneuvers. They've got certain quirks, too. What's more, look carefully, and you should be able to predict which attack is coming next.
Oh yeah, it's the only thing that's been saving my ass in the pupa fight at all. Okay, looks like we're finally hitting the bottom.
Okay, but why does Peace Walker need to walk on two legs? I think treads would be good enough.
You'd be wrong. As you know, the terrain in Central America is rugged and complex, especially along the Caribbean coast of Costa Rica. You've got jungles, swamps, mountains, and the only way to get across all that terrain, no matter how rugged, is on legs.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be tough to cross a swamp, even on legs?
It wasn't easy, that's for sure. The reason we picked Costa Rica as a proving ground is because we can test it on every type of terrain.
What about snow? Can you count for if it slips?
This Peace Walker project the CIA's talking about. You believed in it, huh?
Yeah, I believed. Actually, maybe I just wanted to believe.
What do you mean?
Here's how Coldman explained it. Peace Walker's a weapon for peace. One to ensure true nuclear deterrence. It'd be the anchor to bring stability to Central America. He told me, the nuclear weapon system you've built will never be used. It will forever stand vigil as an icon of peace. And to achieve that, he needed my bipedal locomotion technology. To be honest, I was flattered.
Flattered?
Wouldn't you be? My colleagues in the scientific community have never taken me seriously. They told me bipedal locomotion was a pipe dream, that it'd never amount to anything. It was the first time anybody recognized my work. How could I not be happy? And besides, it was my chance to surpass my father. To create nukes for peace. Or so I thought anyway.
But Coldman's really going through with it.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense, really. No one would give the project any notice unless they could prove that an unmanned system is capable of launching a nuke.
Lovely. Oh.
Why is Coldman going to launch a nuke? If all he wants to do is prove the AI retaliation system works, he doesn't need to put a live warhead on it.
I agree. He could demonstrate the system by launching the missile alone, without a warhead. I asked him the same thing at first. He said there was no point in using a dummy missile. That it'd take an actual nuclear launch to deter potential enemies. Launching the real deal gives him a leg up in negotiations with Langley. That's what he's really after.
So what, he's after a more political game? I mean, we did hear him say that he was trying to get back to his original posting with the CIA, but... Wow. I just want to hear how fast this thing can move. That's the only thing I'm really worried about now.
I based the bipedal locomotion technology used in Peace Walker on Soviet research. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I stole most of the basic ideas behind it.
Soviet? Bipedal? You mean Granin?
You know him?
Met him.
Yeah. I met him at his lab in Russia. He helped me out a little bit.
You met him?
Yep.
What were you...
He was head of the Granin Design Bureau, creator of countless Soviet weapons.
I'd hit a wall in my research at the time. Granin's ideas solved nearly all my problems.
There's nothing unusual about using somebody else's work to further your own research, is there?
As long as you cite it, yeah. But I wasn't in a position to do that. His research was classified at the highest level. Soviet research, no less.
So, you used it without telling anybody?
I wanted to show up my colleagues for once. The ones who never took me seriously. But you reap what you sow.
Yep.
Coldman seized on that vulnerability. Told me if I quit the project, he'd expose my larceny.
He had you by the balls, Doc.
No response from him.
How'd you get your hands on Granin's research?
Send it to
That
him.
was also Coldman. He used his agency contacts to get a hold of it.
Giving you stolen information, then using it to blackmail you. Damn.
I knew it was Granin's work the minute I saw it. See, I'd been corresponding with him for a while.
Corresponding?
Letters. Between scientists doing the same kind of research. He always complained that nobody understood his ideas on bipedal locomotion.
Ah, so you're the American friend he was talking about.
Obviously, he didn't write a word about the technology in his letters. Except for one time. If by chance anything should happen to me, I entrust my research to you. Better that than handing it over to these ignorant so-called scientists.
Sounds like him, all right.
Then one day, his papers actually came. It wasn't hard for me to imagine what had happened to him. I felt it was my duty to carry on his work after him. And also...
What?
I thought maybe combining his technology with mine could be a way to bring East and West together. Like the docking of Apollo and Soyuz.
It'll never make the history books. And it's still not a reason to plagiarize.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I never had the courage to tell the truth. That's all. I always looked for excuses to cover it up.
Until now.
Huh?
You told me everything. You're no longer a coward.
Gotta love it. Just this little stuff, and they're feeling so bad about it, but then Big Boss turns around and is like, no, you're good now.
Metal Gear.
Huh? What about it?
You mumbled that when I first explained about Peace Walker. I'm curious what it meant.
Exactly what it says. Metal Gear. Granin coined the term.
Granin did?
He thought of his technology as the metal gear that meshes infantry with artillery.
I like the sound of that. Metal Gear. It's got a nice ring to it.
I bet.
Better than an outright lie like Peace Walker, anyway.
Okay. Oh, the Shagahod.
Those papers the CIA gave you, was there any data on the Shagahod in there?
Shagahod?
A nuclear tank that launches IRBMs. It competed against Granin's system for approval.
Oh, the thing with the rockets. Designed by a guy named Sokolov, right?
What's so funny?
No, I was just remembering some of the commentary Granin added to the Shagahod papers. You should have seen the way he badmouthed it. It was too conservative, too ugly.
I can imagine.
He was so angry when he wrote that, he smeared up the ink. And you know how shoddy the paper is over there to begin with.
I'll bet. That's Granin, all right.
Imagine accelerating the launcher itself to 300 miles an hour to extend the range of an IRBM. As stupid as it sounds, it's a hell of a concept. Who but the Soviets would think of using a tank as the first stage of a rocket? I actually took a cue from the Shagahod when I developed the Pupa.
That hovercraft thing? You stole that one, too?
Give me a little credit. I only borrowed the concept. The technology is original. As it turned out, hover technology wasn't enough to handle all the terrain in Central America. It relied too much on brute force.
But the Shagahod was a major threat. That thing could corner like you wouldn't believe. Built pretty tough, too.
You sure know a lot about it.
It almost did me in. I couldn't forget it if I tried.
Did you in? So you were the one who took it down.
Yep.
Wow! You really are amazing.
I didn't do it alone.
No, seriously, thank you. We might not be here today if they'd begun mass-producing that thing. Then again, they're hard at work now miniaturizing nuclear warheads. Pretty soon they won't even need an accelerated launcher like the Shagahod.
Great. That means they're that much closer to being able to launch from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, but at least we stopped them for a little longer, right? And yeah, so I was right. I think I mentioned how the pupa looks a little like the Shagahod, and there we go.
Chico called Peace Walker the Basilisco.
Basilisco? Oh, right, Spanish. That's funny. I once used the codename Basilisk for the Peace Walker platform myself.
What for?
The class of lizards called basilisks can walk atop any type of terrain. In a pinch, they can even stand up on two legs and run across water. Perfect name for a system that can walk anywhere in Central America, right? Plus, there are the legends.
What legends?
The basilisks of legend were highly venomous creatures. There's a story told by the ancient Romans. A knight slew a basilisk by piercing it with his spear. The creature's poison seeped up the spear and killed both horse and rider. Remind you of anything, Snake?
Nuclear deterrence.
Bingo. Kill it, and you die along with it. Your hands are bound. I wanted Peace Walker to be like that.
You should know that people aren't that rational. Sometimes people do things that don't make sense, even when they know they're going to die. Or maybe it's because of that.
Maybe you're right. But that's exactly what I don't understand.
Well, that's the world, buddy. Ooh, how about Strangelove? Yeah.
So this Dr. Strangelove was at NASA?
Yeah. Well, actually, Strangelove left for DARPA not long after I joined.
And then the two of you ended up back together doing research in Costa Rica.
Not exactly together. We coordinated on a few things, but the research projects themselves were separate from each other. We had it worked out so that Dr. Strangelove handled the mammal